So today is analyzing paintings. So I am going to start by analyzing 3 paintings with you. These are going to be diverse paintings. They're all over the map. After we finish that 3 painting segment, I'm going to divide you up into groups, and you will be given a poster, and 2 of you, or 2 to 3 of you, will be analyzing that painting that you're given, and no backsies. I'm handing them out and you're going to do them. So, yeah, because loving it isn't part of the deal. So, so that's how we're going to do that. Then we'll take a short break after you do your analyses, which you're only going to take 15 minutes on, something like that. And then we'll take a short break, come back, and then you're going to stand up, the 2 or 3 of you per image, and talk about what you've seen. Okay? So that's it. We've got a lot to do. So we'll get.
You have to come to a consensus.
Well, you have to not necessarily, because every viewer sees everything different. But you want to talk about what you're both seeing. And then if you see differently, you want to write down both those things so we hear them. All right. So here we go with the first. Can you all see that if I get out of the way? Okay, so this is Jean-Franc, well, I'm pronouncing it in French, but he wasn't French, but Jean-Franz Van Dale, 1764-1840. This is Flowers in a Basket. So here we have, the first item is, what elements did the artist emphasize in this painting? Color, good. Line.
Light.
Light.
Volume form.
Volume form, good. Shape. Uh-huh.
Criticality.
Uh-huh.
He's got a rhythm pattern.
Yeah, rhythm pattern, definitely. Yes. Yeah. Particularly with the lights moving through. Good. Okay. What about the subject matter? The subject matter versus the artist's idea about that subject matter. So the subject matter is?
Flowers.
Flowers, yeah. And his idea about the subject matter?
Realistic.
Yeah, realistic.
Romantic.
Romantic.
Lively.
What?
Lively.
Lively, yes. Anything else? What?
It's kind of dramatic.
Yes, very dramatic. And what makes it dramatic? That's a good point. What makes it dramatic?
Contrast of colors.
Yes, yes, yes. When you look at this, you learn that if you want to make the subject matter bright or the focus, you darken the background. With grays, usually, because grays don't fight with any color. If you darken with brown, you're having some color saturation, some color intensity. So with grays, this is kind of grays to black. There's a little bit of bronzy, brownish tones in here. So that's what you want to do. Boom, it comes right out at the viewer. Okay? All right. Your emotional response to this painting?
Pleasure.
Pleasure. Not that I don't want all the same answers. Cheerful.
Cheerful.
So-so.
Yeah.
Yeah?
So.
Okay. Okay, so-so. Yeah.
Nice picture.
It's a nice picture. Good. It's a nice picture. All right. It's pleasing. Yes. And what makes it pleasing?
Color.
Color, movement,
Subject matter.
subject matter. And why is the subject matter pleasing?
Because it's beautiful. All women love flowers.
It's beautiful and all of that. And further, the next thing would be it's realistic so that we grab it immediately.
We can relate to it.
We don't worry about what it is we're looking at. Okay? Yeah, we understand it, we perceive it immediately. Good. Okay, is the composition horizontal, vertical, diagonal?
Vertical.
Good. Are the shapes active, calm, or both?
Both.
Good. Are there repeated shapes? Yes. Are the colors complementary, opposite each other on the color wheel, or are they adjacent, next to each other on the color wheel? Adjacent. Good.
And there's blue. Red, yellow, and blue.
Yeah, yeah. So you have some kind of off complements here, you know, and triads and whatever. Yeah. So yes, everything's all kind of mixed up together. And is the artist using any arbitrary color? No, not in this. Okay, pushed color, you know what I talked about last, pushed, but not arbitrary. Okay,
Can you explain that again, that concept?
it's my word. It's not anything official.
A lot of artists use that word.
But
though.
that uses, it's taking a yellow boat and making it really, really, really yellow. Taking a blue ocean and making it really, really blue, beyond natural, but still blue. Whereas arbitrary color is making the ocean green. Oh, no, green. Orange. Or well, sunset, but I mean, you know what I mean. It's taking a non-natural color and making it different. So that's the difference for me between pushed and arbitrary. Okay, did we talk about the color generally warm, cool, or both?
Generally warm. Generally warm.
You have a warm feeling, don't you, overall? Good. Okay, are they straight out of the tube? Are they mixed with other colors? Are they tinted with white, toned with gray, or shaded with black? Yeah, a little bit of all of those. Is the space in the painting relatively deep, shallow, or in between?
Shallow.
Pretty shallow, yeah. I think so too, because it's right up in front. It's on this pediment, kind of, right here, and then there's not much going on. So the space, we really can't figure out exactly what it is. It's just a backdrop for the flowers. Okay, the light source in this painting, is it natural? Yeah, I think so. I think probably. It could be a natural form of lamp light. It's obviously not, lantern light, pardon me. It's obviously not electrical lamp light. But it is natural. Natural in terms of a lantern light. So it's not, in other words, it's not just the paint, although the paint is lighting up part of this. But we feel that these are lit because of a light source. Okay?
Which was probably a window.
Yeah, which was probably a window in those days.
Is that a shadow in the back or is that other leaves?
Here? Yeah, I think those are other leaves. There's a little butterfly and a little strawberry or something like that, or berry. Okay, the illusion of texture, or is the texture in the paint? Illusion.
It's hard to tell from back.
Yeah, but we know probably that this is the illusion of texture. The illusion of texture on a two-dimensional picture plane. Okay? So, because this is a three-dimensional object, this still life, these flowers, and so the artist is creating the illusion of texture in the flowers so we feel the form and volume of them. Okay, and how does your eye move through the painting? No right answer.
Kind of encircled.
Yeah. Sort of. This kind of jumps at me, and then I move around like that. So, okay, good.
Can I
Now,
make a comment?
sure.
And I just want to see if other people are seeing something I'm seeing too. I notice that there's a very simplistic use of a range of values. In other words, I see 3 distinct values instead of having 5 or 6 ranges in there.
Right.
I'm seeing a dark, a middle, and then
Yes.
a very light. Even the difference of color, like the reds and the oranges, seem to fit into the middle value range instead of the lighter.
Yeah, and as you print these paintings, that degrades over time. This is the postcard. This is also degraded. Obviously, from the painting to the transparency to the postcard. I don't even know whether they use transparencies now because cameras are so good. But that's a good point. This has a particularly strong range of values, light to dark, so that is what predominates. There is a lot of value changes in the painting, but predominantly we look at the light, medium, and dark. So that's a good comment. Okay, now here we go. This is Georges Braque. This is his Salon from 1944. Braque was French, and he worked with Picasso as they experimented with the concept of cubism. Okay, so here we have another still life. And what elements do you see in this?
Form.
Yeah?
Line.
Line, good.
Shape.
Color, yeah. Shape, uh-huh.
Light, dark, a certain amount of rhythm.
Yeah, good. Rhythm and pattern, yeah, yeah. Particularly in here and in the polka dots through the window. Good, okay. So, so what is the subject matter of this painting?
It's an interior.
Yeah, it's an interior. Good. Okay, what's the artist's idea about the interior?
It looks lush.
Uh-huh.
Limited palette, so it's very,
Yeah. So I think whoever said simple, simplified, so he's choosing just specific things, isn't he? Specific shapes and objects to show.
And they're very flat in the way it's painted.
Yes, very, very flat.
Going for design.
Yes, a very, very design-oriented. Good comment. No, very still.
Perspective is overlapping.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so what's your emotional response to this?
Is there a cow in that painting?
No?
Oh, it looks
A cow?
like had to me on the couch or whatever it
I thought it was a poster.
is. I'm gonna have cataract surgery pretty soon.
Well, it's a good thing, Jude.
Curious.
Okay, curiosity. Okay, so emotional response, curiosity. That's a good one. Calmness. Mm-hmm. And what?
On the right.
Maybe we need to see the poster.
What round thing?
Brown.
Oh, brown.
On the right corner.
There's a polar bear over there.
That's color. Who asked that? That's just some color, some brown, and it probably has some meaning, but I can't exactly tell. There's a glass. There's a. Well, it probably doesn't have a face, but
A cat? It's almost like he painted something that there's no importance to the room. It's just supposed to take you somewhere, out the door or something.
right through.
I
Yeah.
always feel like what's in the room is really not important. other than-
Right. He's kind of. Well, it's important for design reasons.
Right,
Yeah, for the design, which is what he's interested in.
right.
Yeah.
Mystery.
So mystery.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So the composition horizontal, vertical, diagonal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, kind of balanced. Are the shapes active, calm, or both? Okay. Repeated shapes? Yep, repeated colors. Colors complementary, adjacent, or a combination? Sort of none of the above, almost. Is the artist using arbitrary color? It's hard to say. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't jump out at you as that. Are the colors straight out of the tube, mixed with other colors, tinted white, toned with gray, or shaded? Toned, yeah, a lot of toning going on. The clearest color is that yellow over on the left-hand side. Is the space described relatively deep, shallow, or in between?
Deep.
Deep-ish. Not terribly deep, because we don't see anything out the French window. There's no space beyond that. So probably, let's call that average. Are there strong value contrasts, light to dark? Absolutely, absolutely. We have almost clear blacks and almost white whites. What is the light source in the painting? Natural? Yeah. Natural, yeah. Okay.
A cluttered, empty room.
Yes.
Is there an illusion of texture? Or is the paint actually built up on the surface?
No, it's flat.
Yeah, fairly flat. Okay. And how does your eye move through the painting? Uh-huh. Yeah. This,
I think it's really pretty. I think it's
Yeah.
a beautiful painting,
Yeah.
and I like the color colors, and my eyes go right through to the
Right,
window.
yeah,
It almost
yeah.
looks like a terrace to me, and that thing that looks like a cow, I thought it was an upholstered piece of furniture.
Yeah, well, I think it probably is. But, I mean, there's no, I mean, don't laugh at that. That's intentional. It's not, these artists used objects to abstract them. I'm back in the way again.
No, I'm gonna make you.
To abstract them intentionally. So it's not that he can't draw.
What does the postcard look like?
Well, exactly the same. No, there's nothing clear in it. No, it's not intentionally
What's
clear.
that white thing?
Do you know, no, but,
This is a window.
but what is done with the light coming
I don't know
through?
what that is. I don't know, and I don't care. It's the design that I love. It's the colors that I love. It's the peacefulness. It's the knowing you're in France, you're in Paris, you're in this room. That's what, and he got all the essence of all those important things. So that's what he's painting. He's not painting every single newspaper or,
The stuff in the room is not the focal point.
yeah, the stuff was not the focal point. Yeah.
Excuse me, I get this feeling that the artist decided, 2 o'clock this afternoon, I'm going to paint something, and he just didn't know what he was gonna paint, but that's what happened.
Well, that would be not right. Much as I love you, Anna, but this artist was profoundly well trained and had a lifetime making art in all different kinds of ways. And he always painted, that's what he did, and he painted from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So, and he was always experimenting and always pushing himself forward, because artists who were the great artists were no longer interested in just reflecting reality, visual reality. They were looking for ways to show you items or rooms or whatever in a new way.
Okay.
So,
Share that
does that,
quote that I read that you have, I know you have there, I know you're probably waiting for later, but I think if you could read that now as we're looking at this, it helps. It's helping me look
Is
at
it?
it with a different.
okay, this was
thought.
supposed to be my finale.
I know.
You can reread
Honestly.
I'll let you okay, Tori?
Yes.
Who were the other painters that painted at the same time as well?
Well, Picasso.
I know.
Yes, yeah. And he also painted early before Cubism with the Fauve painters, with Matisse, Derain, Vlaminck, and all those. He charged away from the south of France to get to Paris to work with Picasso on Cubism. He stayed with Cubism for a long time. You see, this is 1944, you see manifestations of Cubist flatness in this painting and simplicity. So, and then he went on from there. He was ever evolving. So a very well-respected artist. Okay, here, so here's my finale. Okay.
Read it again later.
So this is my thoughts about docenting, since I'm ever so old and I've been doing this a long time. Okay, so be curious, open-minded, and eager to learn new things. The arts are a discipline, all the arts are a discipline that allows us to continue learning for a lifetime. There's no end in sight, it's infinite. Whether you're relatively new to art or an old hand, the most important aspect of being a docent is a passion to learn. Okay, respect the art and the artists. That's essential. You can't be a docent if you don't. If you don't have to like something to learn from it. So this is what docents do. They learn. That's your job. That's the job. Visitors to the museum will not be interested in your opinions about the art. Keep that to yourself. It's fine to have an opinion. We all do. Keep it inside. They will be interested in learning about the artist, about his or her background, training, and technique, and about the subject matter or idea that motivates each artist to create. Okay? That's
Really important.
well, I mean, it's just what you do, and you'll all learn that. And I know most of you know all that. That's old news.
There's one thing about that
Yeah.
painting that I love.
Yes.
I love the way he's using the light coming from behind through that vase to
Yeah.
reflect what he did with the vase on the cloth.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think that's really cool.
Right. Yeah. So here is the little flower arrangement, and here is the shadow effects, the reflection. Yeah, it's very subtle. You know, it's these kinds of paintings which we're not familiar with, compare that to what we saw, the flowers. I've already put them down. You know, so this painting naturally is going to take longer to appreciate. And that's where the learning comes in. It's not bing, bing, bing. There are going to be mysteries in modern painting. A lot of mysteries. So that's what it's all about. Okay, so we'll retire Brock.
You certainly can't be expected to know what the artist was thinking about.
No. We're just a mere viewer. But we can take stabs at it. But what you want to do is ask the visitors what they're seeing. You know, all of us in
The artist's intention
yeah.
to
I
make
mean,
this thing.
with this, with the Brock, we all had different ideas. That's what you want. That's what you want. You don't want us all thinking the same thing. That would be boring, and the art itself would be boring. So we want some sparks flying. That's what keeps things, oh geez, keeps things interesting. Okay, here's one that'll,
That's gonna fall.
let's see, do we have a little bit of tape or, oh here, yeah, that's a good
And
idea.
I'm gonna just go back a little bit.
By the way, I'm going to leave all these with the docents so that you'll have them because they're good. Can you see that? Okay, let me grab it. So this is Alexei von Jelensky, and this is 1864. I mean, he is 1864, 1941.
Wow.
And this is the head of the woman Medusa, and it is 1923. So Jelensky was Russian, lived in Germany, and painted with the Blue Rider group in southern Germany near Munich. Kandinsky and Franz Marc and Jelensky and who are some of those? Gabriel Munter and all that gang. It was the nature-based expressionism in Germany in the early part of the 20th century. Up in the north was a psychologically based expressionism. De Broca. Okay, so what elements did the artist?
Arbitrary color?
Yes,
Yay.
arbitrary color. Yay, yay, yay.
And line,
Line, good.
flat.
Flat isn't really an element, but it is flat.
But right there up front, center, yeah.
Who? What else?
Shape.
Shape. Yep. What about value?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Strong value.
Okay.
Contrast.
Uh-huh. All right. Okay, subject matter is a face. Face of a woman. And the artist's idea about that subject matter.
Curiosity.
Uh-huh.
Complex.
That's right.
Or you could say simplification, you know, because he's taken the elements and put them there very simplified. So he's not showing us any visual, you know, types of spatial volume form type of information.
Form is simplified.
Yes.
Color's complex.
That's right.
It looks to me like she's trying to figure out the artist,
Uh-huh.
from the look in her eye.
Yeah. Well, I would be afraid if I were the artist. It's Medusa after all. Yeah. Okay, what's your emotional response? Okay. Exciting?
It's alive. It's,
Alive?
oh, yeah.
Terrifying for anybody?
No.
No? Okay.
Well, yeah, the red.
Okay. Uh-huh. Strong. It's overwhelming, kind of. Okay, the composition horizontal, vertical, or combination, diagonal, vertical. Shapes, active, calm, or both?
Both, I think.
Okay. Keep in mind we have two kinds of shapes, open color shapes, and we have closed shapes, enclosed shapes. Okay? So these are open, this is a shape itself, but it's open color. It doesn't have any sort of outline. So here, this kind of opens up beside the nose. These lips, these got lines in for these kind of enclosing. So both those combinations. Very modern. And repeated shapes? Yeah, definitely. Are the colors complementary, opposites? Are they adjacents? Are they both a combination? Yeah, right. They are primary and very saturated. Okay, warm, cool, or both? Both, yeah. And straight out of the tube or mixed? Mixed and some straight out of the tube, kind of. Is the space described in the painting relatively deep? Or no? Nope. Are there strong value contrasts, light to dark? Absolutely. What is the light source in this painting? Is it natural? Is it man-made? Is it the paint itself? It's the paint itself. Okay, this is very 20th century. Is there an illusion of texture, or is the paint actually built up on the surface? I think it's a little bit built up. I don't think it's too high. But the texture really isn't following the visual reality of the person, of the face.
Right, the nose doesn't stick out
The texture doesn't have anything to do with that.
So it's about the paint.
It's about the paint, yeah.
Looks like some of the paints were mixed on the painting itself.
Correct,
instead of off.
correct. And this is oil, so he was working wet into wet. Yeah. Okay, so, and how does your eye move through this?
Up and down mostly.
Yeah, and I think that I'm grabbed at first by these, the eyes, and then of course I fall down here, the curve, and that brings me back up. I don't know. Everybody's different with that. Okay, so are you guys ready now okay. So I am just going to put two of you together. 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Your reactions to this one painting, each two of you to the one painting, and so you have your notes, but you can fill them out on the front, okay, where the lines are. We're going to take about 15 minutes to do this, so I don't want you.
Each write a reaction first and then discuss it?
That would be a good idea, okay?
Yeah.
All right, and I'm just going to pass them out, and you're going to get what you get.
I sort of think it should be, we should be part of it.
Oh, we are going to have, we are going to have a class before anyone,
Oh, yeah, you would have, before the show opens, there'll be a docent, I'm sure there'll be a docent walkthrough.
maybe even more than one, or two
Yeah.
or three, like four downstairs.
You guys doing okay? Any questions? Okay.
Thanks, this is fun.
Oh, good, oh, good.
Yeah.
Visually realistic.
You want to go like this.
Yeah. So in general, what makes this active is the color. This is an iPad drawing, by the way. We're way into the 21st century. Any questions that you have?
It's kind of like it goes into this.
I like it. Isn't that
It's got a
fun?
lot of things lighter.
Yeah, I think so too. Very unusual for this artist, not what we're used to seeing. Who's here? You okay?
But if our emotional response is I like it or I don't like it, you need to give us a reason.
Oh yeah, because they see things in paintings that I haven't seen for 25 years. And all of a sudden, boom, I'm thinking, oh my God, how could I have missed that? So ignorance is actually bliss. So don't worry. Any questions? Wes, famous. And there's a show at SAM right now. We're going to see it. Oh, good. Yeah, we're going to see it this Sunday. It's supposed to be fabulous. Oh, wow. And all the other mystics, Morris Graves. And of course, you love him like I do.
Well, his main gift was he was one of
Personally,
the
I think that this is
best
something that
instructors.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Light to dark. Have a
Yes.
question about a question.
Yeah, so it's happening. And I would say it was a combination.
All right,
So
awesome.
you said he was very advanced, so but he was in 1910s.
Yeah, I know. He was a Northern German expressionist. And they were extremely advanced in how they pushed paint, how they wanted the viewer to see the paint. to know it was paint rather than an illusion. So it's their emotions got into the paint, into the forms, into the structures.
That's great.
Yeah, color. This is very strict, but
Well, it's sort of balanced on this.
yeah, by that. Yeah. What
And it's very painterly stuff down at the bottom.
Okay. Okay. I think most of you are finished. And so we're going to take a very short break. And when we come back, like 2 seconds. I think Susan has something to say.
Actually, yeah, we would want to do a couple things. Maybe we'll do the other thing at the end. Melinda had a very good question for me. Go ahead. Can you remember what the question was?
Well, only because I have a friend that was a CLR museum, and she used to always say, oh, I can't go out with you today because I have to go research when I'm going to be speaking, as a docent too. So I asked her, how are we going to be doing research?
Okay, and the question is, for instance, we have William Morris coming. We are going to go to a live demonstration on how art is done, how glass is blown. We are going to get a little background into the history of blown glass. We are going to have the William Morris, if he is not able to come himself, which we're still trying to get that to happen, he has his, I don't know what you call it, the entourage or whatever. They will be there. They will give us a morning tour before the show even opens, and they will talk about the various pieces. So we'll get knowledge about each piece. And then that same entourage will be there for the evening of the pre-opening to go over to all the benefactors of our museum. That's one of their perks. So we get a perk, they get a perk, and then the next day is the opening show, so to say. So we will get background information so that by the time the show opens, we can talk Morris. And we'll do that for all the different venues. And that's one of the nice things about this museum is that we kind of do one at a time. It's not like Stan where we have to know pre-Columbian art and a whole variety. We're going to do one at a time. And we'll get pretty knowledgeable about each one. That answer?
Yeah, and there's one other part of that. Amongst this group, I'm sure that there are a lot of people that have backgrounds in different kinds of things, like crafts or whatever, or painting or, and I think it would be informative if we could all kind of let each other know what that is.
Or let Susan know, definitely.
Yeah, so that form that you filled out was basically to let me know when we're done here and when Tori's done. For those of you who can spend even another 5 minutes, I would like to do a little introduction of ourselves. Just to give us a taste of what our background is, or why we're here, or what we're trying to get out of it, or a little bit of something. If we keep sharing that little bit about each other, I think over time we'll get to know each other much better, and then, because eventually we will break into little groups. Okay? Good? Good. All right.
Okay, we're back.
All right.
Okay, Melinda and Marilyn, would you like to start with yours?
And has taught many, if not almost all, of the modern art people that we know as really important painters. So,
You're next to me because I have this thing.
oh, okay. So what do we do? Just go through here?
Yeah, just go through there. Yeah.
Are we supposed to ask them what they see, or are we supposed to tell them what we
I would tell them what you saw, and then if they have a question, they'll hold their hand up.
So his main, he was one painter who talked about design. I'll use that as a word that a lot of them avoided because it was all emotive kind of stuff that happened. This man was teaching, about all the elements that you learned about last week, which I wasn't here because I'm sick. So it's fine. Okay, so
we both
We
pretty
both-
much agree
yeah.
because we did talk about it.
the main emphasis was shape and color.
Right.
Shape and color.
And the
Dramatic.
subject matter is non-representational, so it's
Shape and color again.
shape again, balance, design elements.
True.
I can repeat.
Okay, 'cause
I can repeat. So shape and color are the subject matter of the painting, and really the idea of the subject matter is is recognizing the possibilities of painting, of paint itself, and using it.
And it's
To-
dynamic, and it's
Dynamic,
light and dark.
light and dark.
We saw vertical
Mm-hmm.
composition.
Uh-huh.
Oh, actually, I didn't write down the shapes, active, calm, or both,
I would say active because
We-
of the color contrast.
because of the contrast.
Yeah.
That's right.
And because a lot of them are open color,
Yeah.
True.
too,
And the
so,
ones that aren't really stand out,
yes.
the yellow.
Definitely repeated shapes, as far as the red and yellow in particular. Other colors complementary, mostly, but,
A combination, really.
Or
but
there,
it's really a combination.
right. I mean, we've got yellow, red, blue, purple, green, and then some grays and some beiges and, you know,
Right,
so
true.
it's bang, bang colors, straight off the color wheel, a lot of it.
I don't like the term arbitrary colors, because if anything, Hans Hoffman would have
Well,
chosen his colors with extreme.
Well, this does not, that does not pertain to him at all. This does not pertain at all to him. So there are some it does pertain to.
They're
Are
both, yeah, both
Warm
and cool.
Yes,
Mhm,
both.
good.
Straight out of the tube or mixed, and it's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm, yep.
This the next one about the
Oh,
depth of the
right.
painting. This gets tricky.
Yes, this is tricky. So how deep is the space?
Well,
I mean,
it can be very deep, yeah.
yeah. Well, he was, I mean, he was a fanatic about pushing and pulling. Pulling shapes to you, colors to you, and pushing other areas of the painting away. And this is what,
Exercise you have us do.
yeah, so exactly, that exercise. So this is what his wonderful, he was able to talk about space in paintings that are not representational, so that we begin to feel that space.
Strong value contrast, light to dark, yes.
Very strong.
Very, right. The light source, it seems to be the paint.
Yes, it is, indeed.
Is there illusion of texture? To me, to me, in areas, it looks like there is, off to the right
It's
side of the red
actual
and-
full bang texture. I mean, the paintings are an
It
inch
looks-
thick.
okay.
They're an inch thick, and you can still smell the oil.
Oh.
I mean, it's unbelievable after all these years. It's a sea of paint.
I can imagine it would.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I-
like a.
From looking at
Yeah,
that.
looking at that.
Not necessarily.
That's
It's
right, no,
some.
that's exactly right, that's the,
tell? I don't get it.
you couldn't tell, what do you
That
mean?
there's an inch of painting on it.
You can't on the print, you can't. All you just see is that you can see some texture, because you see ridges along the edges. Yeah, but that's something that you.
She's seen the paint
That's why you have to go to museums, right? So you see the paintings. Yes,
As a painter,
yes, and you can see the size, which is
Right.
huge.
as a painter, what's interesting to me is to look at places where you can see that this was yellow at one point.
Yeah, the history of it. I
Yeah,
love the
it's
history.
right there for
Yeah.
you to kind of figure
Yeah.
out and see things. And how does your eye move through this painting? There's probably, how many people?
There's a challenge.
There are probably 60 different ways, right?
I follow the yellow.
Forward and back.
Yeah, by the yellows, kind of. I mean, I think that's one way,
And he
yeah.
was interested, you said, in making your
Yes,
eye.
move through, yeah. Good,
All right.
excellent, excellent, very good. Oh, Hans Hoffman, a southern German painter who moved to the U.S. in 1931, I believe, immigrated. He taught in Munich and was a beloved teacher there and came to the U.S. via actually UC Berkeley, who invited him to teach 2 summer sessions. And then he immigrated in 1931.
And then he moved to New York.
And then he moved to New York. Yeah, he left his collection to Berkeley, but he moved to New York, taught in New York, and had a summer school in Provincetown. Fabulous guy. Okay, so who would like to be next? Any? You? Absolutely. Team Rich and Gail.
We didn't always see eye to eye on everything that we had
Fine.
here, and we found out real quick that our differences weren't a deficit, and it helped us to see things a
there you
little
go.
bit better
Uh-huh.
at each other. And then I knew who it was to begin with, and I'm not sure you knew, but Turner is the one that did this when you turned it over, and
Yes,
there we had
an English painter,
elements in
mid-19th
this.
century.
I think we both saw color, space, value, dynamics, light, and direction. I saw a real huge direction
Yes.
here. This brings it up. And then we came to a point where we just not disagreed, but had a little divergence there, and that was the subject matter right straight up. And Gail?
I thought it was nature versus man.
And I thought it was just a cityscape that was on fire, looking at that. So we had to talk and look a little bit closer to kind of see what we were looking at.
Especially me.
And look in and find some things in there. And the artist's idea about the subject, I thought it was, to begin with, it was burning, then sadness, and then the more I thought about it, it was pretty serious and pretty powerful at the moment, too.
Dramatic, yeah, yeah.
I don't have my.
And then the composition or our emotional response to the painting, for me, was wow, fire, alarm. Because I've been in a few fires before, and this brings back and invokes a memory to me
Right.
about fire and being up close with it.
Personal,
And I
yeah.
saw it as a color explosion.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And then composition, horizontal, vertical, diagonal. We had a combination. There's a lot going on in
Yes.
this, from
Yeah,
fire moving this way to the bridge area here coming across, and even the people shadowed in the bottom, just a hint of those folks
Yes.
down there that you can see.
watching the fire.
Gave a great spot there. And are the shapes active, calm, or both? We had a little divergence here, Gail.
I said both.
And I had active just because I saw the people at the bottom being actively engaged in what was going on
Uh-huh.
with that.
And then there's a bit of calm with the bridge. And almost a reflection in the water, only it's still brilliant, but it gives a little pause, and that sky area gives you a little bit of calmness.
Yeah, the fact that the water is calm, reflecting a
Yes,
very
yeah, right.
active
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
is a,
Yeah,
And then the shapes we had down there that I had that they were active, or excuse me, were repeated, predominantly to some of the shapes in here. There's some real illusion and hints of brickwork if you really look close at that up here. Just some bare, real faded lines and stuff if you look close. And it just pulls it right straight on up, for me anyways. And I saw that repeated there, and then with the fire.
uh-huh,
Repeated that.
good.
And then colors, you had,
Generally warm. I had both, warm and cool.
yep, same here.
Mm-hmm.
And a combination of a variety of the color and the color wheel going on throughout the picture.
Yeah.
Afterwards, we got to looking at this a little bit closer, because when we got down to the value, whether it was things are related and dark, we started looking a lot closer at the color and the connectivity of the two.
Uh-huh,
And we started seeing the value here and here at opposite ends, but yet the colors are used throughout the painting. It gave it a real harmonious, even
Yeah.
as off as it is in difference in value, it's very harmonious because colors are placed underneath in little spots and places. It kind of ties
Yeah.
it all together. And then space is described in the painting. We saw it as deep.
Very, very deep.
Very deep, looking at that. And then strong color or strong value contrast with that. And then we diverged again on the light source a little bit.
And I saw it as a natural light.
She saw it as natural, and I saw it as
From-
induced with the fire,
uh-huh.
that the fire was causing only, I just saw reflections over.
But that would be a natural light. That would be natural, because fire is natural. So,
Except this one I think was man-made.
well, we don't know that. These were the Houses of Parliament, by the way, that are burning.
And then texture, Yeah, I thought there was an illusion of texture.
Agreed.
We did
Yeah,
too.
I do too.
Because there's a lot going on in this. The closer you look, the more you look, the more you begin
Yes.
to see in that.
How big is this thing?
It's big,
It is.
yeah. Yeah, it's over easel sized.
And then our eyes move through the painting pretty much kind of the same way. From here, immediately kind of drawn here, and then it comes around, and then the bridge forces us back over.
Yeah, good,
That's the way we saw it.
good.
Elliptical.
Excellent. Wonderful.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Great job. Let me see what, if I have that. 92 by 123 centimeters, so it's not that big. Ish, so it is easel sized. Okay, who's next? You two.
Okay, we'll wait.
Such as we are.
Done in 2011.
Yes, so we're going well into the 21st century here. iPad. Yeah, iPad.
So when they do that, they just have it printed.
Correct,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah, so there's no paintbrush or anything involved.
David Hockney, a Brit who, born in England and U.S. England.
Fabulous artist.
I found a lot of line, color, and space,
Yes, we agreed on that.
yes, and
Something tells me they didn't agree on everything.
That's a good thing, not necessarily a bad thing.
it's the artist's idea, I mean, freeway travel.
Yeah.
So,
Southern California,
yeah.
you betcha.
In fact, I've driven 101 many times, so.
Well, we agreed on that also.
Yes,
Freeway and speed, I said speed.
Uh-huh.
And my emotional, since I love to drive distances, to me, it's adventure, a trip, and go.
And for you?
My emotional response was, I can't say I liked. It was quick, a quick sketch. I enjoy quick sketches. No details.
Right.
Just get it on.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep,
Didn't even
good.
get paint on your fingers.
No. Completely clean.
Did we agree on vertical?
Horizontal and combination.
Yep, good. Those signs keep that strong horizontal going
okay.
across.
You have the,
Not just
down to the vanishing point.
Yep.
Are the shapes active, column, or both?
we,
They're supposed to be active.
yeah, we both put active,
Repeated shapes, yes.
yes, and repeated colors.
Combination.
Uh-huh.
Arbitrary colors.
Pink car is not common.
No, it's possible though. And it's Southern California.
It is Southern California.
I said no, not natural colors.
Yeah.
Arbitrary colors. Are they generally warm or cool?
We both put warm.
Warm.
Uh-huh. Even though there's lots of green, but yeah.
Are
This,
well, the green has
yeah, has a lot of
something
pink in it.
It's warm green.
Yes, it's
There's a
warm blue.
green and a cool green. I learned that.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see.
Since it's out of a tube,
It's
we'll
not
know
out of a
nothing out of a tube.
Yeah, Joe, that doesn't apply.
Is the space described in the painting relatively deep, shallow, or average? I said deep.
Pretty deep, yeah. That 1 point perspective taking your eye in, yeah.
Strong value contrasts, yes.
Yes, we both agree.
Yep.
Is the light source
Natural.
no paint,
No
so there's no
paint,
texture?
no.
No texture.
Does your eye move through the painting?
Yes.
Moves up to the,
Yeah, right. Good,
All right.
wonderful. Isn't that so fun? An iPad painting? Okay, who would like to go next? Okay.
We were pretty much in agreement on most of the elements of this, and I just think that my biggest impression of this was that it's a very spacious and dynamic heart. I really like that image. And we both thought it would be something that would be nice to look at every day.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And not get
And I'll let
tired.
Jane talk about that.
With elements, we found just about everything in this. Shape, color, movement, light and rhythm. We found a lot of rhythm in that. There's just so much going on.
Who's the artist?
It's
Jim Dine. Jim Dine. This is part of his Heart series. We saw the Heart south of Naples. This is called Heart, the Meadow, the Mirror, or the Mirror, the Meadow. Either, it's a double.
And the subject matter is the heart, of course. My emotional response was just pleasure. What was yours? Joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. In composition, we thought it was mostly vertical. Even the shape of the heart is vertical in that it rounds down and comes down to a point. Active or calm? We thought more calm than active. There's some activity with it, but
Yeah.
we felt that it was more calm. The repeated shapes and colors, yes, we like that. And as far as the colors being complementary, we felt that there were both in this one.
Mm-hmm. I think so too.
And is he using arbitrary color? That was almost impossible to say.
That's
but we
not,
don't think
it,
so.
it doesn't apply to this.
Yeah. And the colors we thought were both warm and cool. There's quite a bit of green and blue in there, but there's also a predominance of yellow and some red. And really the lightness, he's using white in so many different areas that we really like the light part of that. And as far as the colors being sprayed out of the tube or tinted, we thought both on this too. We could see places where we really
Yes,
could
hard
see
to
the
tell.
texture
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
And space described, we figured this was really quite shallow.
I think so too.
Some depth with the
Right.
background, but not much.
Yeah, and some feeling kind of outside the heart of the sky, maybe going,
Yes.
that illusion, but
It kind of looks like it's on possibly
Is that an oil?
a wooden
Yes.
fence post.
But it almost looks watercolory.
yeah,
So
very
soft.
thin, very thin.
And with the contrast, we saw light and dark, we saw both, but there's a lot of light, I think, with that one. And we weren't quite sure whether the light source was man-made or natural, but we think it was man-made.
Yeah, I think it's the paint, mostly,
An
yeah.
illusion of texture, some, because we could see where there was that buildup of paint.
Right,
And how did you, oh, I like what you said.
Oh, I said my eye moves through it chaotically.
yes, yeah, and I think that's true, the way he's applied the paint.
And
So, go ahead.
I kind of go to the center and go around.
Yes, okay.
But in
Yeah.
this painting, as in the other heart, there are all these little things. in
Yes,
there that
little
you start
things to
see.
see.
There's a paintbrush and what looks like a fish, we weren't quite sure.
Uh-huh,
And there are trees in this meadow, which are definitely trees, and then he's done a line over them. So
yeah.
it's like the more you look, the more you see.
Yes, yeah.
It's kind of fun.
From back here, it looks like a landscape.
Yes, it does, very
Yeah.
much so, yeah. And it's so nice to see the two hearts, you know, he did a whole series of these.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it makes
But
you appreciate
It really,
the first one that we
yes,
saw.
that's exactly right,
more.
because this changes, and it's not just a Johnny one note, he's,
Right.
you know, he's got a lot in those brain cells. So, excellent.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
Way we can pull the
Joy of Life.
1905, 1906. And what you see from a distance is quite a bit different than what you see when you're a little closer, as we were most of the time that we were looking at it. So Lori, you want to say what we thought?
So the elements we saw: line, shape, color, space, dynamics, movement, rhythm, pattern. Close up, you can see there's texture from the paint.
Yeah,
it was,
good.
yeah.
Value?
Lots of
little value.
movement.
Yep, good.
Oh, movement rather than direction. The subject matter and the artist's idea was, yeah, I'm doing it.
This is it's a
My first thought was like a beach, because I was focusing on the part in the middle, but then it was like back into a glen with And then Carol was seeing like nude.
Figures. Yes, they're
There are
figures.
lots of figures here,
Uh-huh.
nude people and others. There are more figures here than you would realize. There is perspective going back.
Yes.
Quite a bit of perspective and depth here with probably natural light coming through the tree and down, although stylized for sure. But the light is from the paint, lots and
Yes.
lots and lots and
Yes.
lots of texture, and complementary and contrasting colors, opposites.
Yeah.
Just a huge amount of color.
He really played with the nudes to become a part of the landscape.
Right, he didn't want them to
Well,
jump out.
That was the thing, when we were looking at it close up, you're just, at first, you're seeing all of this color and
Color and
movement.
movement, and then
And the
from a
more we
distance-
looked at it, from a distance, all of a sudden, it was like the scene came into place.
Yes.
It calms down.
Well, and this is a study, so it was done quickly and spontaneously. And he did many studies for the larger piece.
So it was not the finished?
No, no, this is a study for, yeah. So that's why you see some canvas, raw canvas showing through of when you see it up close eventually. Yeah, so it's very fast, his first impression.
Where's the raw canvas?
Oh, it's that sort of beigey stuff in there.
Okay.
Yes, this is fauve, the fauve period, arbitrary color.
Our emotional response was, you're not supposed to say you like it and you don't like it. I found it very warm and happy.
Uh-huh, that's, yeah, that warm and happy, that says it all.
Yeah.
Good,
Warm and happy, great.
uh-huh,
We didn't write our answers down.
that's all right.
Is it horizontal, vertical, diagonal, or a combination?
You
We
say
thought it was
combination here.
everything.
Yep, everything.
The shapes are also active and calm. Are there repeated shapes or repeated colors?
Predominantly active, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Yeah,
Very active.
yeah,
Repeated shapes, repeated color.
yep.
Are the colors complementary, adjacent, or a combination?
Combination.
Yes. He got his whole paint box out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of his feelings and
Yes,
thoughts.
yes.
Is there arbitrary color? Are the colors generally warm, cool, or both?
And we think maybe pushed, if you want to say anything.
Pushed and too arbitrary, though.
Some arbitrary. We
Yeah.
thought Perhaps the nudes were sunburned.
Yeah, very.
The
They'd been
natural color.
posing a long time.
The colors are mixed, I
Yep,
think.
yep.
Are
And
they
tinted, toned,
tinted with
some of them.
white? Yeah.
Not a lot of toning,
Right.
but tinted, definitely, some of them.
Is the space relatively deep, shallow, or average? And this is, I think, one of the few places that we sort of saw it a little bit differently, because it is deep, but the area that it's deep was so narrow
yeah.
that I tended to think of it as more shallow.
Right. And and that shape, what makes it, what makes it that way? That shape? Why does it feel shallow to you?
Oh, because
No, because it's small and because,
it's all right.
yeah, it's
Bright
pink.
colors.
It's the bright pink of the sky. Are you talking about this? Yeah, it's pulling it forward, this area. So you go back out through the glade to this opening in the sky. I see this as a landmass or something there. And then this pink, bright pink, pops your
Brings it
eye
again, back
forward. So well, we would say it was medium space, because you go out and then you come back.
General rules of color
Yeah.
regarding
Yeah.
perspective are not there.
Yeah.
Where you gray out, and he didn't gray it out.
No.
You
Right.
know what's interesting is because for me, I had it set in my head that was like water out there.
Uh-huh, yes, yeah.
So I automatically made in my head, without feeling it, I was just thinking that was like arbitrary sky color, making it deeper. It was like in my head, not what, you know what I'm saying?
Right. But for me, the pink comes forward.
forward,
Yeah,
right.
but the yellow is water, I think, the yellow below it. Is not just, no, not that, the next,
Oh,
that, yeah, right there. The little purple landmass and then the sky.
I see.
I mean, that's what I see, but that's just me.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say you're right.
No, don't say I'm right.
There's no right.
Now, we have to keep going really quickly, really quickly. We're getting,
Strong value contrasts, yes. What's the light source? We already talked about that.
let's see, the paint.
It's natural. Oh,
In the paint.
It's in the
Yeah,
paint.
yeah, the light source, yeah. Good.
but coming, okay.
Uh-huh.
And is there an illusion of texture? Yes, I think it's an illusion.
It's actual texture, actual. It's paint, yeah.
From the paint.
From the paint,
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
And your eye goes everywhere.
Yes.
That's good. Thank you. Now,
He became a surrealist painter. So anybody want to guess?
it looks like Wyatt, but it's not.
No.
No.
1925.
Could it be Salvador Dali?
She knows.
Talk about it.
Yeah. Keep on.
Do you want, this is my partner in crime, Barb. I'm Jude. And so, the first, do you want me to read it or do you want to read it? Okay. We saw line, shape, form, volume, dynamics, rhythm, and pattern in this. All
Good,
those things.
good.
And then it's a girl looking out the window to the sea. Emotional response, I was calm.
Soothing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Vertical, definitely see vertical, more than horizontal, but there is a little bit of horizontal, but it's framed. The shapes are active and calm.
I think we both agreed that we saw calm.
Mm-hmm. More
And
calm.
there are repeated shapes, yes, repeated design in the curtain and the girl's dress, repeated folds here and here,
Uh-huh.
and
The texture of the
texture
water.
in her hair is in
Yeah.
the land, and the texture on the water. We feel the colors are adjacent.
Yes, yeah.
And complementary.
Now,
No arbitrary color.
very, very, very slightly complementary with her sort of the orangey tones and the off blue and the tinted blue and the
Okay.
tinted orange. So
Okay,
it's a
yeah.
very soft complement if it is.
And
at all.
the generally cool.
Yep.
It used mixed and tinted tone with gray and white
Uh-huh.
paint, and we found the space quite deep.
Yep.
What I find that you're led up the painting, it's almost like her toes pointing and saying, start here, then you go up and look at her fine shape,
Uh-huh.
and then you go up and out the window.
Yeah.
So, strong, closely related values, strong enough to give 3-dimension
Yeah.
shape. Chiaroscuro,
Uh-huh. Light and shadow.
natural light, illusion of texture in the water.
Yes.
It doesn't look like the paintings, it looks like it's all very, very fine.
Right.
It's oil on board.
Uh-huh.
And how does the eye move up to the painting? We're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, good. Good. All right. Yes.
I'm presenting, okay.
Yes.
It is done with, it appears to be, been done with a lot of pastel colors in the background and then a lot of line of the gray and a soft black over it. It appears to be, again, a thin layer of paint, so I'm going to say it's the illusion of texture rather than actual texture of the paint. So we see a lot of rhythm and pattern and line and texture in this.
Good.
This is called
Parnassus?
Parnassus.
Parnassus,
Yes.
which is a mountain in Greece by Mark Tobey, 1963.
And wasn't that where Zeus lived?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
We didn't know any of those details.
But just say what you're gonna learn.
Yeah.
But you know, we started looking at it, the more you look at it, the more you see, of course. Everyone said that so far, but you know, this lighter area kind of comes forward and you're kind of drawn into this darker area. It's kind of the nucleus of the painting in a way, yeah?
Yeah.
And it asked for an emotional response, and both of us thought that it would be much easier to get emotional response standing in front of it. I think size would be an important aspect of getting an emotional response to something like this, because it's very flat here.
Right, 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 and that creates a sort of force field. What does it, okay, go on.
Composition is a combination of horizontal, vertical, it's just kind of all different structures. Are they active? Active. Are the repeated shapes, colors? Yes. Are the colors complementary, adjacent, or a combination? We said a combination. Is he using arbitrary, not applicable?
No.
Are the colors generally warm or cool, or both? Both, you said.
Right,
Are the tube? No, they're tinted with white, toned with gray, shaded with black. We have the pass.
right, right.
Is it described paint relatively deep, shallow, or average? So again,
Moderate, or average, yeah?
Yeah,
You know.
it's,
This looks, you know.
yeah, I mean, he studied Asian calligraphy, studied Zen, all those kinds of things. So it's all about that surface and where that surface takes you in terms of where you go contemplatively.
okay.
So,
Is the space described in this painting relatively deep, shallow, or average? And we said some depth.
uh-huh.
Okay. And just moderate contrast, because you kind of got a lot of mid-tone.
Yes.
When it's bigger, you'll see more contrast.
Right.
Light source, it is the paint itself.
Yeah, that's right.
An illusion of texture. we
Illusion and probably some real, but fairly flat.
thought. Okay. And does your eye move through the painting? And at first we both went,
What?
not really, but the more we look
Yeah.
at it, the more you do look at it. And it
Yes.
starts to move.
Yes, yeah, excellent, wonderful. David Hockney.
However, this is oil on canvas in 2008.
Yes,
And it's
this is-
called More Felled Trees on Woldgate.
Yeah.
Woldgate.
More Felled Trees at Woldgate by David Hockney, and this is a real painting. 2008, I believe.
Yes,
Yeah.
So do you want to go first?
go ahead.
Reaction to this? Well, it was wild color, and my own reaction was the felling of trees would make me sad.
Right. And that could bring that wild color to the fore, because he wanted you to really zero in on that.
Well, same idea. I mean, the question, what's the artist's idea about this subject? I didn't think it was clear. I mean, maybe he is dismayed by the felling of all these trees, but you would think if that were the idea, then he would show a little more devastation. But you've got
Right.
these felled trees along the road with no real clue of how they got there. There's the stump, and there's one other tree sort of off in the forest, but basically the rest of the forest is untouched.
Right.
So,
Right.
what the artist's idea is sort of another way of asking, why did the artist paint this picture?
Yeah,
I have
or
no
why did
clue.
he use a pink tree, a fuchsia
Yeah.
tree in bright yellow? Yeah, absolutely. It's sometimes not, it doesn't pertain.
I
Yeah.
see lush in what's growing though, and
Yeah.
I see naked, he's showing with the strong colors that he used with the stripped and the other tree, they are just bam, rather than look at the calm, lush, this is what nature's supposed to look like, and what we're doing to it is we're making it unnature-like.
But that's also personal, because I can look at those logs and say, oh, wow, I adore that orange yellow.
yeah.
I adore that fuchsia stump. So it's, who knows? We don't know, but keep going.
So color, space, the elements that I put down chiefly were color, space, dynamics, very dynamic in the center, very calm on the edges, light, form, and pattern.
Good.
Do you have any other?
Yeah, and repetition.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of repetition.
Rhythm and pattern, yeah.
We did the subject matter already.
Yeah.
And also the emotional response. I guess I jumped ahead.
That's good, that's fine.
The composition is diagonal and with some vertical.
Yeah,
The shapes, the logs are very active, the wooded areas were calm. Yes, there's repeated shapes and repeated colors. Colors complementary, I'm guessing yes. But
Yeah, off complementary anyway. Yeah, they're strong against each other.
Is the artist using arbitrary color? He's arbitrary with what I thought that the road and the snag were arbitrary, pink, fuchsia, hot, but leaning toward the natural world, what are the logs and the surroundings.
Right, definitely. The forest looks very green and normal. I mean, you know, pushed, but normal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any other?
No, and warm or cool, I mean, some of each, clearly.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Pretty evenly divided, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The space, deep, strong value contrast. The light logs with the subdued, darker woods was a lot of contrast.
Right.
Value.
Uh-huh.
The light source is the paint to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the light from nature, from the sky, doesn't really factor. It's that kind of off-white back there. So it really is the light
It's
of
very
the-
flat. There's
Yeah,
almost no
yeah.
shadow in it.
Right, yeah.
Texture.
Yeah, I think it's an illusion of texture.
Yeah,
without being
absolutely.
able to see
Yeah,
the painting.
yeah, definitely.
The way your eye moves through the painting, mine at least just goes up the road.
That's right, yeah. And then the fuchsia tree sort of
Wraps it
pulls you
around.
back. Yeah, yeah. Good. That's wonderful.
Delaport. It's called Basket of Eggs, 1788, and it's oil on canvas. I'll do one. Okay, should be up. So we felt it was definitely shape, high contrast, like between like the eggs and the background. Lots of lights drawing your eye right to the eggs. Definitely the texture with the basket, and right now I'm painting in my house, so I always want to touch walls. So to me, I want to touch this because it just seems to have texture to me, and form. So. Go ahead.
Okay. The subject matter is still life and very realistic. The emotional response, I had both pleasure and a calming feeling because of the naturalness of the subject matter.
Right.
And, you know, farms make you feel good.
Right. And another calming aspect is what?
Oh, the background perhaps.
Yeah,
Being
and the
so uniform.
horizontal,
right,
that
the
horizontal
line.
format.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is a composition horizontal? Yes, horizontal, except we do have this wonderful
Yes.
diagonal of the
Yeah.
wheat
Kind of a
stalks.
wheat stalk, yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, go ahead.
We feel that the shapes are calm, except Tori pointed out that it's active with the color source. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. The color, I mean, the shape is, the idea of the apples is calming because we recognize them, but the color of the apples is exciting.
Definitely repeated shapes, and we felt like repeated colors.
We have repeated beiges found in the basket. You can see the beige come out again in the mushroom, and it's worked into the background colors and the foreground colors
Yeah.
too. Colors are mostly adjacent.
So we felt there's no arbitrary colors.
No,
pretty
no, this is
realistic.
natural.
Yeah. Colors are generally warm. I'm not.
Well, they're more subdued. This is definitely warm, but this is a warm but subdued setting, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah, the colors are mixed, and we have tinting in the eggs and
Yes.
some of the highlights there. Yeah.
Space we feel is definitely shallow because the
yeah.
objects are right in front of you. Definitely a strong value contrast between the eggs and the
Yeah,
background.
can't get too much stronger.
Yeah.
The color source is coming from the left, and it's very, very
Natural, some
observable.
sort of light, yeah.
Laura's eyes were drawn directly this way,
Uh-huh.
yet I kind of
Came in that way. Okay, good, good. Yeah, yeah.
Is there illusion of texture? I would say so, because
Yes,
especially with
definitely.
this and all the
Right,
details.
right. And you can also feel the roughness of the stone and all.
I think that covers it.
That's great. Good, thank you. Okay,
So
great.
we think we have the best picture for last. That's what we think.
Okay.
So it was Carl Schmidt Rothbluth in 1910, and he was a German artist. And so what we did is we just answered all the questions on one sheet. So I'm just going to remind Patricia what the question is, and she'll answer it.
And we're gonna make it really quick so we can be
Right.
timely.
Okay, elements. Go.
Okay, so we pretty much saw almost all the elements that we've got. There's significant line, shape, color space, similar, it's similar in value. There is contrast in there, but there's no real light, dark happening. There's lots of form, it's really dynamic. It is directory, it takes you in with the one-point perspective. So movement and texture created by the brush strokes. As far as building up texture on the paint, we didn't really know because we couldn't see it.
You're right.
Subject matter.
Yeah.
So, and then the subject matter, landscape, and almost surreal landscape, but still identifiable as a landscape.
Our emotional response.
We were like, it's pretty dynamic. Either love it or you hate it. That's what
We
ours
loved it.
is. Yeah. It's very strong and bold with the strong colors, the strong brush strokes, and the perspective bringing you, in. So
And then the composition
was predominantly horizontal.
and shapes.
So-
Active or common.
Yeah, way active shapes, which was, I think, enhanced also by the color being active. So you kind of have a double blast of it being active with more than one element.
And are there repeated shapes?
Yeah, repeated shapes with the brush strokes again.
Okay, colors complementary or adjacent?
And we thought it was both, more adjacent and some complementary.
But I think the complementary are really the things that's driving the painting, yeah. The red-orange against the blue, the yellow, if there's any violet, right down here, there's some violet, and the green and red combination. So everything is complementary, but then you have a lot of greens too, which are adjacent together.
And then arbitrary color.
And some arbitrary, not a lot, we just kind of addressed that, and then pushed color.
Yes.
And our colors are generally warm or cool, I think.
And-
Both.
yeah.
Both, absolutely both, yeah.
Are the colors straight out of the tube? Are they mixed with other colors? Everything.
Yeah, they are straight out of the tube and they are mixed, both, yeah.
And is the painting relatively deep, shallow, average?
And we thought deep because of the one-point perspective drawing you in through
It's
the painting.
about average, I'd say, because the forest stops you. You're not going back, and this blue sky is so strong, it's not letting you breathe out there. It's keeping your eye right here. And when you were talking about space a little bit, and you mentioned horizontal, and it has a lot of horizontal movement, but it also has a lot of vertical movement. So it's a combination of that.
There's a nice diagonal too.
Yes, yeah, right along here, yeah.
And strong value contrast, like
Yeah, very strong.
Very strong, yeah. We don't go all the way to white, but we don't all go all the way to black either. So,
And the light source is really paint.
yeah.
And, and we did both there too, because there is natural there too, but the paint,
And the texture.
which
Good,
we,
and we think it's more.
which we addressed earlier with both.
Right.
The brush strokes and and then there could be texture in the paint, but couldn't see that.
Yeah.
And how does our eye move around that paint?
So, and then the perspective draws you in this way, and then you have this looping effect that kind of brings you back in and repeating the story that's being told there and experiencing it from different directions.
Yep.
We loved it.
Oh, yeah, that was good. Thank you. That's beautiful. So anybody who wants to stay and look at these, please do. You can turn them over again. I hope you have wonderful time being docents. I'm going to see you again next summer. And hopefully we'll have another couple of sessions. I'll be teaching in the library in June, I'm hoping. And I'm going to be doing a two-part series on Northwest painting and painters. So that I'm doing research now. It's been a long process. That'll be next summer. So.